Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Our next guest is a former member of the hit R&B trio Total. These days, you can catch her each Wednesday night on BET Presents the Encore. Please help me welcome back to the show my sister, Pamela Long.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, Stephen. Hey, bro. How are you, babe?
And how you feeling?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. It's good to be back. It's been a while, right?
It's been a minute, right?
Yes.
I definitely want to talk about this show because there's so much to unpack. But listen, for those, because a lot of people, they obviously know Total, they know Pamela Long, but they may not know everything. So tell us how you first got started in the music business.
Oh, wow. You know what? A friend of ours by the name of Alex Kennedy took me over to a studio in Plainfield, New Jersey. I met a man by the name of Norman Bradley. I was 15 years old. And it was my first time ever in a studio, something that I always want to do since a little girl. And with all of that being said, he took me to the studio and we stayed like pretty much, hours. Got home. My mama was gonna whoop my tail. He's like, Miss Judy, wait.
Right.
And with all that being said, my mama heard the song. She let me go back to the studio. And I actually in Crossing met Kim and Keisha. I heard a song that they did. It wasn't, we was just like hi, bye, pretty much.
Right.
And one day, like maybe like a couple of weeks later, maybe 2 weeks or so later, Norman actually called and was like, Keisha and Kima was looking for a third member. And they was on the phone, and they was like, he was like, do you want to be in a group with them? And I was like, no. And then he was like, Pamela, I think it's something that you should do. So with me just being on the phone, and I was just like, all right, I'll do it. And then from there, the rest was history. We actually met a woman by the name of Kathy Dukes, God rest her soul. She actually took us to Puff, and from that moment, it was just like he heard us, and you wouldn't think, because Puff, he's
right.
He wasn't even like this. He was stone faced, like just like. And it was like we were singing, giving it to him all in his face, everything. And it was just like after we finished singing, he asked us our names and we told him. He's like, all right, thank y'all for coming out. It was just like, all right. He hated us, you know what I mean? And 5 o'clock that morning, he called Kathy, was like, don't take those girls anywhere. I want to sign them to my label. And boom, so it was a process, it was a whole process, but he kept to his word. And, here I am today.
I remember, I don't know if you remember this, one summer you came down with Nem.
Right.
That's our brother. And so they're from Jersey. I lived in Virginia at the time.
Yes.
So she came down, he would come every summer for like a week. And so he brought his sister, Pamela Long, down. And she was telling us that she was very shy, at least shy around us, because it was a new environment for her. And she was telling us that she was going to be in a group. And we're like, okay. And then we were like, well, go sing. I don't know if you remember going to the top of the stairs.
Going to the top of the stairs and singing.
We were at the kitchen table and she sang Home by Stephanie Mel.
Yeah. Now I think I'm home. That was one of my favorite. Yo, that right there.
But maybe it was less than a month later, I saw you in the Juicy video. Big.
Wow.
I was like, she all right.
Come on.
And so I remember you all's last album, you all were on tour, Drew Hill, and you invited us out, me and my other sister and my brother, and our brother was there.
Yes.
And it was just a great show, great day, really, because we did everything that day. I don't even know how y'all were able to perform, but killed it. So I think a lot of people ask this question.
Okay.
Why do you think that you all decided to no longer do music?
Together? Stephen,
let's talk about like from the early 2000 period.
You know what? I pretty much look at it as, how sometimes you can be on the path and then it's just like, yo, God got to pivot, you don't see it. And I can't speak for everybody else, Stephen, but it was just like I lost track of self, it was just like, just being in this industry, it was. And I can't even blame the industry. Sometimes you got a big head, you got pride. The only thing that it's going to do is just grow. If you never deal with anything, it's just like things are just going to continue just to snowball. And as my apostle would say, it's just like, what you are is just going to become bigger. You know what I mean? It's just going to become bigger. The more power and stuff that you gain if you never deal with things. And it's just like, yo, Stephen, I was all over the place. I had gotten to a place where I'll never forget my mom pulled me to the side, and because she was one, like, she loved me, she'd tell me the truth, and she pulled me to the side and she said to me, she said, I love you. Now, this is my best friend. She said, I love you, but I do not like you. And they was like, whoa.
Right.
And I cried. I actually, you kind of you all right for the second, and I went
Mhm.
away and I cried, and it was just like, but that didn't get me together right then and there. It was more or less that waking up, I'm looking at myself in the mirror one day, Stephen, in November of 1999, and I cried literally,
Mhm.
pretty much almost the whole day. And
Yeah.
I said to one of my older brothers, D'Amigo, I said to him, I was like, I'm about to give my life to the Lord. I can't do this no more.
Mhm.
And it was just like God was really calling me. And I promise you, that day in November, it was just like, yo, I looked in the mirror, and it's me, but it's not me. I couldn't even
Yeah.
recognize
Yeah.
myself no more.
Yeah. I
And
feel you.
so it's just like, I'm
Mhm.
grateful, Stephen.
A
I
lot of
am.
people, they think because when they saw you on the show, BET Presents Encore, they thought that you just had this spiritual awakening. But I remember in 2001 coming up to Jersey, 'cause I would come up there in the summer, and we went to church, Bible study that Sunday.
Yes.
I mean that Wednesday, and you were telling me about your story then and your journey that you were on. And people think because you give yourself to the Lord and you make this journey that you're infallible for the rest
Right.
of your
Come
life.
on. Amen. That's when it get harder. That's when the devil come at you more. The devil like, oh, for real? So this what you doing? Oh, okay,
Right.
cool. Because you was one of my best soldiers, and now
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to switch on me. So yeah, it get harder, Stephen. And as you know, last year for me was
Yeah.
whew, whew,
Yeah.
God, I have to come out and talk about how I've lied, being this woman of God, this one that you see, quote unquote,
Mhm.
but thank God for grace and mercy, that here I am, the woman of the cloth, as to say, I'm minister in my church, a minister,
Yeah.
preaching the word of God. And here I am lying, here I am walking in envy, covetousness, and all these secret sins within my heart. It may not be something that I'm doing, and I'm not sleeping around, and I may not be
Right.
doing this, and I may not be doing that, but it was so many things in my heart that I'm telling you that my heart was so dirty that God was just literally trying to get me together, and
Mhm.
I'm getting counsel over here, and counsel over there behind the scenes. And it's just like God is still trying to get me together. But
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, you don't want to get yourself together?
Mhm.
He pulled
Mhm.
that cover off. Exposure is what it's called. And I was in a place where, Stephen, I was in a real bad place.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't know at some point if I was going to make it. I didn't know if I was going to make it. I promised to God I didn't, because literally my mind was just,
Mhm. Mhm.
you have no idea how much God hand, when his hand is on your life, and
Mhm.
that's every day. We
Yeah.
go around as people, and
Right.
God is, he is, it's really him that got his hand on our lives. And when he take that hand off,
Yeah.
I promise you, it's almost as if like you be like, yo, I didn't know, I didn't know that peace
Right.
was, you say it, the peace of God, and like,
Mhm.
yo, it really is his peace,
Yeah.
it really is his hand on us, and I thank him. I really do, Stephen. It was a rough time for me. It was
Yeah.
so rough, but it
And
didn't have to happen. It
Mhm.
didn't have to happen. It was something that I chose to do. And
Yeah.
so to keep on doing. For whatever reasons, I did it.
Yeah.
And I did the things that I did. I said the things that I said. It was not warranted at all. Nobody deserved that. Regardless of anything. I wouldn't care
Right.
what somebody did or didn't do.
Mhm.
So it's just like, I'm Stephen. I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm learning, and I really just want to be who God has called me to be. This is where I am at in my life, and it's just like, it's not even about trying to prove it to
Right.
anybody anymore, because I was one of them ones. I got to prove it. I gotta
Yeah.
prove my love. I gotta prove it. I gotta work for it. God said, it ain't nothing you can do, honey, to
Mhm.
deserve my love. The only thing that you can do is receive it, and
Yeah.
I'm learning how to receive it, but at the same time too, to be real in it.
Right. Right. I know, because I remember when I would see, when you would make posts and things, I was like, you didn't even look like yourself, because every time was around you and saw you, there was always this bright light that I always saw in
My
you.
God,
And
Jesus.
but then that period, but then to see you on the show,
Mm,
that's Pam that I remember.
wow.
Like, the glow is back. I
To God.
mean, again, it doesn't mean everything's perfect in our lives, but you can just tell you're in a much better place.
Yes.
But let's go back. Let's go to BET presents the Encore.
Okay, well, let's go to the Encore.
So, so I remember our brother called me and told me that you were coming out here to do a show out here.
Right.
And so tell us about, you get a call, and what's the call?
You know what? To be honest, like I actually didn't get a call about the
Okay.
show. I received an email, and what's something is that my apostle prophesied it to me just not too long before it happened. She was just like, "You won't be on." We was at her house at one time, and we were praying, and she just began. The Lord just began to talk about television, and He had said it before, but it was just like, that's how God worked. And next thing you know, here I am on television. And so with all of that being said, it's just like I get the message in my email from somebody about doing a show, and I'm just like, she was just like, that this is God.
Yeah.
And so with all of that, I was just like, we were going through the procedures, the back and forth and all of that stuff, the legal things and all that. And when everything happened to me, I was like, oh, I'm not doing the show. I was like, look, I actually made a call, and I told the gentleman, Scott Shatsky, shout out to him because he's such a great guy.
Yeah.
And with all of that being said, I was just like, I'm not doing this. And God, you call yourself gonna make up your mind. I was like, I done messed up. It's over. Like
all this happened. You got this opportunity when all this other stuff was going down.
Before the stuff went down.
Oh, okay.
Before it went down.
Oh,
so
wow.
Everything went down. I was like, oh no, I'm not doing this. I was like, God, I don't believe that you even want me to do this. I can't do this no more. And then right after that, the word of the Lord was like, you still go. It's just like God knew. It's like I knew what you were going to do. I knew all this stuff was going to happen, but I called you to something, and that was the beginning because I'm looking to go through the process of being healed, but I didn't want to do it in front of the world. I was like, yo, look, I was like, because I don't know what's going to be said, how it's going to be said, and the only thing that I could do is just shut my mouth and just allow it to go down. And I promise you, I just really just thank the Lord because He knew everything that was going to happen, and I had told them that no, that I wasn't going to do it. They said yes, all right, they accepted it. And I actually hit the gentleman up over the weekend after, like, it was maybe like, I don't know if it was a week or so. I don't know how long the time span was, and maybe a week or less. But I remember might have been on a Sunday night or either a Saturday night. I sent the email, was like, is there still a place for me, because I'm going to do it. He hit me back and said yes. Awesome. And so that was the reason why I was on the show.
So you come out here to Atlanta and you move into the mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 other women. First of all, did you know? Because I saw some people when they left the show, they said they didn't know it would be that many people. Did you know it'd be 8 other women?
Well, you know what? I knew it was going to be. Now, I did know that it was going to be a good bit of women. They were saying that it was going to be. And I was trying to opt to get my own room because I was like, look, man, I don't, bathrooms. I want to make sure that we're safe and all of this. And we're in the midst of,
COVID,
pandemic. And so with all of that being said, it was just like, I was just like, all right, cool. So I knew that I had to go. I knew that it was something that I was mandated to do. And upon me getting there, it was just like, I didn't know who was in the house, so when everybody coming in and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I'm just trying to figure out everything, who's who or whatever. Right. And, but from there, it was definitely an experience. I can say one thing I can say, honestly, is that I never knew how hard it was to have a camera in your face 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and for 30 days. Yeah. Stephen, it was one of the hardest things that I promise you, it's like, when because I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. Right. I really, really don't. And when I used to watch the shows back in the day, you seeing people trip out. You're like, yo, why are they tripping? Yeah. I can see why they were tripping. That camera, like literally, it can make you go like, if you don't, I promise you, I thank God for the moments that I had to be able to walk the property and get away from the camera, because I would walk so far to where it's just like, they was like, some of them was like, some of the producers that was on the scene, they was like, that were there, I'm sorry. Yeah. It was like, yo, at one point we was like, where's she going? Like, where is she going? Yeah, because I got out of the shot, got away from the camera, because I was just like, I just need my time just to talk with God. Stephen, there was days when I'm walking outside and I'm crying. I'm crying. I remember one day I'm standing out in the woods and I'm talking to God and I'm looking up at the trees and I'm like, God, and I'm crying, talking to him. And I'm just like, God, please. And I just thank him for just those moments, because it's just like, it's pressure. Like, you shoot a video or whatever and the camera is off.
Yeah.
Stephen, when we were literally, you're in your bed, you can hear the camera going.
Wow.
And like literally, I'm putting up barriers so the camera can't see me while I'm sleeping,
Exactly.
And it's just like you in the restroom, they don't have no camera in there, but you look up, there's a microphone. So it's like you gotta unplug yourself to make sure, you know what I mean? You unplugging yourself. It's like, okay, I don't want nobody to hear me going to the restroom.
Yeah. So early on in the show, one of the episodes, I think it was maybe the second or third episode, because everybody loved you from the jump. There was one moment, and I 100% agree with your stance in this moment. But it's when Audrey O'Day was rubbing your leg.
Okay.
And you kindly asked her, please don't do that. And you didn't even say it you didn't even say it that way. You were just saying, I'm very protective of my space and how things are perceived. And she just kind of backed away. She said some stuff in the confessional, but she kind of backed away. But it was Keely who took offense to it.
Yeah.
And she then accused you of being homophobic.
Yeah.
And she's the one that brought up the God thing, because you didn't say anything about God when you initially happened. And so my takeaway was, first of all, we all can have the right not to want someone rubbing on us. And secondly, she brought it up, so you told her how you felt. You didn't say she had to feel their way, but this is how I feel, this is what I believe, and this is how I live my life. Do you think that you were heard when you were explaining? Because I know you came back, because you were the queen at the time, I believe. You came back and you explained it again. Do you feel like you were heard?
You know what? I can honestly say, Stephen, what happened that day, like you said, it was just like more or less like Aubrey, somebody rest on you, it's fine. Yeah. But it was just like, and it was nothing against Aubrey. I know for a fact that she ain't trying to get at me. I'm not trying to get at her. But it's just the fact that camera, you know what I mean? It's like camera picks something up and it's just like it can be taken
at one clip.
Wrong direction, So it was just like I said to myself, I know that I gotta say something. So I just kindly was just like, sis, such, because this is where I used to be. And I did say, I was like, because God, he delivered me. He's a deliverer. And then from there, it was just like, but with all of that being said, one thing I can say is that, everybody has their own way of how they're going to look to live their life, and it's only one truth, you know what I mean? And it depends on like what truth are you going to live? Are you going to live your truth, or are you going to live God's truth? One thing about it is, though, he has a standard that I didn't write. So it was just like, but to sit and to be called a homophobe, it was just like I sat there and I listened to her.
Yeah, you did.
And the part that they did not show was when, as far as with Keely, I said to her, when the young lady called you, when the young lady in her group called Keely, I can't believe, a colorist or something. And I said the same thing she did to you is the same thing you're doing to me. I said, so at the end of the day, and it was just like, I thank God that, Stephen, the old me would have felt like I had to prove myself, show off for the camera or whatever the case may be. But it was just like, I thank God, like I'm in a different place to where it's like, I'm learning, like I'm not going to battle with anybody back and forth on anything. But what I can say is that this is my stance. And my stance is that I'm not standing. The only thing that I'm standing, just so happen to be right here. The only thing I'm standing on is the word. You know what I mean? That's it. I'm not coming at you with anything else. And other than that, like I don't have an issue with you know what I mean? At all. And so it's just like, Stephen, I'm learning, like I said, I'm learning that when you point one finger, you can't point a finger at nobody, because they always say you got three pointing back at you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like I said, I got a lot of love for the ladies. I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and that's just what it was,
So let me ask you about the twins. So the twins,
yes,
very talented, Misha and Fallon. I'm sorry,
Felicia.
Felicia and Fallon.
Mm-hmm.
Me and watching the show, I'd be on social media, seeing the responses, and they were considered the mean girls.
Okay.
And that they wanted to run the house or run the process.
Right.
I don't think I saw you getting any conflict with them, but again, the show is not finished.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about their stance in the house and just their overall being in the house? Obviously, you seem to have gotten along with them, but what were your stance and how they were perceived?
Right. You know what, Stephen? I look at the situation and I say, sometimes it's the easiest thing to do is to judge. You know what I mean? It's so easy to be like,
Right.
oh look, all right, look, that's the way you acting. So you real nasty. You real.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to say that when we don't know the story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sometimes people be so hurt.
Yeah, we talked about being mad at the father, the one of the sisters.
Yes, absolutely. So it was just like, and that's some of the story that they did not show. They did not show the parts where people became with Felicia and Fallon and Shamari or Nivea or Misha, Iris, Aubrey, Keely became so vulnerable and began to tell the story of what they've been through. And when you see that, it's kind of, you just like, you see,
can understand the person.
You be like, dog, I get it. Yeah. Or either it's just like, you can have that compassion still, because it's always a flip side to something. It's something that's driving you like this. You know what I mean? Either it's a demon or either it's, and that's straight up, you know what I mean? Either it's a demon you got, or you got a whole lot of hurt. You got some issues there that you have not spoken about. And it's just like, I'm learning, and that's one thing that I learned, like, look, at the end of the day, it's just, look at the things that I went through, the stuff that people like looking at me like, some sort of kind of way. And it's just like, the judgment is there now.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to open my mouth, and like my pastor said, you go to open your mouth. Some people gonna be like, yo, I don't want to hear nothing you gotta say no more. You know what I mean? But it's just like, you gotta continue to move forward, and you don't look to prove yourself. Yeah. So it's just like, I'm learning, like with the twins, I got an opportunity to see a different side, regardless as to what, people, everybody can change. Yep, everybody can change. Yeah. So it's just like, it's just a part of growth. It's just one thing I'm learning is that I'm learning how to fall back and listen, but at the same time too, there are some instances that I felt like, Pamela, it wasn't even me. It was the fact that, God to prick my heart and said, you should have opened your mouth and said something then. You know what I mean? You should have said something, because that you saw that it wasn't right. You saw some things that weren't right. So you should have opened your mouth. But in some instances, you sit back and you pray, just allow it, and so it's just like, I'm still learning. I'm not still learning. It's just like, I'm not going to be afraid to open my mouth no more, and then sometimes it's just like I said, I look at it and I believe that the ladies, everybody has an opportunity to grow. And I just tell people like, yo, look, don't judge a book by its cover, because it's a different chapter that can come. You know what I mean? It's a different chapter that can come, because look at me. Shoot, I look at my life and I be like, God, thank you for a second chance. That's why one of my hashtags is second chance now, because here I am because of grace and mercy. So man, I'm just learning how to show it to everybody, and everybody got their stuff, Stephen. Everybody like, yo, look, if a joke on my father said, if you want to find any fault, go and stand in that doggone mirror and look at yourself, and you will find every fault. You ain't got time to look at nobody else when you look at yourself like that.
Yeah. Let me ask you about Irish and Misha, 702. So the perception with them, probably because they had not done music in a minute, they came off, especially in the beginning, a little more, rusty. Okay. For lack of better words. Okay. And I think that, and again, I'm not putting the blame on the twins, but perception, that was what people were saying online. But then obviously the twins and some of the sound bites we heard were kind of re-emphasizing that you're only strong as your weakest link, and whatever. Were you surprised when they left after Aubrey left, Nivea left? Were you surprised that they left just because it seemed to be so much clashing between them and the twins, and maybe feeling a little insecure about the dancing and singing. Were you surprised?
You know what, Stephen? I have to applaud, and I have to big them up in a way and get kudos to them for being strong enough
Mm-hmm.
to make the decision to leave.
Yeah.
Because for Misha, you know what I mean? You being in that house and you seeing some things and you hearing some things
Yeah.
and you watching, and to see them women be
Mm-hmm.
able to control themselves
Yeah.
in a
And even give
place where,
hugs at the end.
Stephen, and it was just like, and you got to remember, stuff is edited. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're flipping.
Right.
So
Right.
my thing is that for them to be able to be like, you know what, I got to remove myself. It
Mm-hmm.
takes more strength
Yeah.
to remove yourself
Yeah.
and to stay in a place where you know, like, yo, this right here is about to bring me all the way out of character because I didn't come here
Yeah.
for this.
Right.
You know, so it's just like, to me, it's more of, I look at them in the place of strength opposed to, because at first, you know, I'm like, sis, like, come on, man, like, come on, hold on, hang on in there, hang on, you know. But at the end of the day, it takes more strength to walk away from
Yeah.
something that you love to do
Mm-hmm.
than to say, you know what, listen, I can't do this, because if I stay,
Mm-hmm.
I might do something that's going to cause me to,
You got character.
yeah, something that I can't come back from.
And
You
you
know?
seem like when after they left, and you said in so many words that you could understand it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could understand from their perspective why they.
Absolutely. From their perspective,
Yeah.
I can understand it and I respect it. I definitely do. I respect it because it's just like, yo, it take a lot. It's so much strength
Mhm.
in that. People think that it's just like, oh, you know,
They gave
I'm just
up.
walking away, but
Mhm.
no, it wasn't that. It was, yo, look, I'm walking away
Mhm.
because I know me enough. And if I
Right.
don't, and that's the same thing with Nivea. Like, I look at Nivea
Yeah. I
and
was asked about her.
yo, I promise you, I bless God that she knew herself enough to say, look,
Mhm.
all right, time out for me, because
Mhm.
I know, like, if you know, if people listen, when she was downstairs and the way that it was being talked about when they were in the studio, because Nivea was like, yo, because I will knock somebody out. And
Yeah.
you
They
can look
said
and
that
tell,
about me. Right.
yeah, you can look and tell and be like, oh, okay,
Uh,
this is, she mean that. You
uh-huh.
understand? And so it's just like, with all of that, and you seeing and you looking at somebody and you saying, that's not fake. That right
Yeah.
there is all the way real.
Yeah.
It takes so much strength to be like, yo, look, I gotta go. 'Cause
Mhm.
if I know me enough that
Mhm.
if I don't get out of here, it's not even, it could, it's going to
Yeah.
escalate, and it's not going to be a good look. So I'm just, I really look at the situation and I'm just like, wow, man, like, yo, that's what's up. And you can learn so much from that.
Yeah.
You really can.
Absolutely. And we have to talk about the gospel track, the gospel
Wow.
record.
Bless.
I mean, and you know, people they were texting me when you were in the studio, they showed you the studio. Sing, Pam. Like, like they didn't know you could sing. Sing, Pam.
Wow.
Um, I actually didn't know that you had as much range as you did in that song. I knew you could sing, but I didn't know you had the range you had with the
Yeah,
way.
neither did I sometimes. Stephen, I promise you.
I mean, I was that's the only thing that shocked me. I know you can sing.
Yeah,
I've heard you in person,
yeah.
but
Okay.
that range that you tell us about why it was important to you in doing this EP to have that type of record on there.
You know what? First, as far as when it came to the range, shout out to Elijah Blake, because he pushed
Yeah,
me so
he
hard.
pushed
Elijah,
it.
yeah, he pushed me. He was like, "Come on, you could do this. You could
And
sing.
you
You could
did it.
sing." And he give it. I was like, and he's like, "You could do this. You could sing. You could sing that." And so it was just like, yo. So I really bless God, Stephen. You know what? It's something that God really blessed me. Now the writers of the song, like Felicia,
Mhm.
the day that we prayed together, myself, her, and Fallon in the beginning, on the first show, right? When we
Mhm.
prayed, Felicia was just like, I want to do a gospel record on it.
Okay.
She's like, I want to do a song. And she mentioned it, and it was just like, all right, cool. And you know, it was left there. But when we started working on the songs and stuff, and Felicia was just like, come, let me know something or whatever about a song or whatever. And it was something that God had given to me, that like the chorus part had, just the beginning parts of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I started singing to her. And she's like, I like it already.
Yeah.
And that's when all of it started coming together. So actually myself, Felicia, And then you seen how everybody just started coming down.
And they all came in. They wanted to all get on there.
Yo, Stephen, what's so dope is that day my pastor had preached. It was Sunday.
Okay.
And my pastor had preached the word about crossing over. And she was just talking about how Jesus told the disciples to go and get in the boat, and they had to cross over. And they was, that's when Jesus came walking by on the water because the boat was stuck. And so it was just like, it was so dope. And next thing you know, Felicia comes down. Then we started working. Then everybody started.
They all did gravitate. Yeah.
Everybody started coming down. Aubrey played a part of the song.
Yep.
She wrote on the song too.
Oh, did she?
Aubrey wrote on the song.
Okay.
Keely, myself, Felicia, and Elijah.
Okay.
And it was just like everybody else sung on it, but it was just like, if they didn't even show the part where it was like at one moment Fallon was sitting on the chair and she was just here like this, like this. And it was like everybody was just in a place, just like, God is so dope because he said it. Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto myself. And so it was just like you saw the drawing. And I'm telling you, Stephen, the song was just so amazing. It was just like, it wasn't a dry eye that was there. It was just like, yo, regardless as to what was said after it happened, you can't even deny. That's one thing about Jesus is that it's just like, you can't even deny, even if you don't accept him, even if you're like, yo, I don't want him in my life. I ain't trying to hear what you say. You cannot, I heard somebody, this guy wrote it in a book. I read it. He said, you cannot deny that you met love. Regardless of anything, if you don't choose him, you cannot deny that you met him. And so it's just like, yo, that song was just
I can't wait to hear the full track. I really can't.
I promise you, it really is something. And it's still like, I still listen to it myself. We're just starting to get the everything done and all of this stuff. So it's just like, when I listen to it myself, it puts me in a place where I'm just like, dog, God, you are the God of heaven. You are, you're everything,
Yeah. I'm going to talk about two more things. I know you have limited time, busy woman. Let's talk about real quick the listening party.
Okay.
And when you and Kima had that conversation.
Yes.
Kima, friend of the show as well. And so it was like a real moment where she felt like, I guess she felt like, and I'm sure they edited down the conversation, that she felt like you kind of not betrayed them, but you kind of abandoned them. And to see you now doing this new group, it's like you forgot all about Total. And you kind of explained to her where you were and where you are now. What can you tell us about that conversation and how you are today?
Right. You know what, Stephen? One thing I could say is that when it came to Total, and then it was a comment about Beyonce, and it was
the Beyonce comment,
it was
the Beyonce of Total.
And
you were though, but anyway.
When she said that, it was just like what I meant by that, what was said, as far as in that conversation, and they edited, I believe, because I explained it there, but before it was explained as well too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that when it came to the Beyonce comment, it was more or less like, being in a group. And when you going solo, it's just like Beyonce had to stop working with Destiny's Child to become Beyonce. So it was like she had to stop doing this, you know what I mean? To do that. She was no longer saying, I'm Beyonce from Destiny's Child. She's like, I'm Beyonce. And that's with any artist. Like Michael, when he left the Jackson 5, he was Michael Jackson. It was just, the love didn't stop. It's just like, so that I can build up who I am as a solo artist, I have to detach for right now. That doesn't mean that I don't love you. That doesn't mean that I'm not here. It means that if this solo thing, if I'm looking for it to go, then I got to run with it, and so so it's just like, that's what Pamela, that's Pamela Long. That's why people, for so long, it was just like, my identity was trapped up, and not just for people, but even for myself. I had become Pam from Total, and that's not who I am. I'm Pamela Long, you know what I mean? And that's not even in the business. But outside of anything else, I'm Judy Long's baby. I'm Pamela Long, and I lost myself in the Pam from Total. So it wasn't so much of just trying to do the solo thing. It's like, look, I'm trying to find me in the process, So it's just like, I thank God, and I didn't even know at the time, Stephen, that I was trying to find me, because so you think you got everything together, quote unquote, and come to find out you so broken and so jacked up. And so with all of that being said, that's where that comment came from. But the conversation with Kima, it was a great conversation. I hadn't spoke to her for a while because it's just like when some want to go one way, it's just like I can't go this way, and it's causing. It wasn't. We weren't fighting, but
Right.
it's causing friction.
Friction.
So for me to not have this going on, I gotta separate myself.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't love you. I love you, but I gotta separate myself, because if not, then this thing, like, what we gonna do? We're gonna and it was just more or less that, Stephen, that I felt like I needed to do what I needed to do for myself.
Sometimes that's
I
what we have.
had to get, yeah, I had to get away. I had to let go. And it was just like, I'm not trying to be funny. I wasn't trying to be funny. I wasn't trying to be anything, but it's just like, for all of this to come back around, like this full circle.
Yeah.
Like, I thank God for it, because
Yeah.
it was time for the healing process. It was time for us to see each other. It was time for the questions to be asked. It was time for me to embrace my sister, and for her to embrace me and be like, yo, I love you. And it's just like, yo, I love you too. Like, the love ain't go nowhere. And just like she said, regardless of if we on the stage or not, that's not what I'm concerned about.
Right.
I'm concerned about knowing if you are okay. And to me, that right there is just like, yo, look, all right, maybe that was one of the reasons as to why, the main reason, like I said, it could have been the main reason why God allowed me to get on the show, because he knew that he was going to let her come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, so I look at it as, yo, God always got a reason for something. Just look for it, look for it, and to see, be like, yo, is this the reason why I came to this show? Like, or is it because you and I needed to have this conversation? It is, but I do know that it was one of the reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. And you and Keisha, where are you all? Because I know you all were very close. Where do you all stand?
Right.
Are y'all in a good place?
You know what, Stephen? I haven't spoken to Keisha. Honestly, I haven't spoken to her in a while. But my thing is this, I've learned is that you don't have to speak to somebody all the time. You ain't got to be in their face to love them. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I love her, and I believe that she loves me. And when it's time, it'll happen, just the same way that myself and Kima spoke. And it's just like, sometimes it's just like, yo, you gotta give people. Yeah, you gotta give people time to for themselves, and just like I needed time for me.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I'm just grateful and I'm thankful, and I believe that it'll all come together when it's supposed to. We'll talk. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes,
The last thing I want to talk about, just in closing. So now it's five. Five women.
Wow.
And went from 9 to 5.
Working.
Was it right? Was it easier with the lesser number of women as opposed to the larger?
You know what, Stephen? I can say that I'm not gonna say it was easier.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that. I would just say that it oh, that's a question and a half, man. Like, I don't even know to be honest, I don't even know if I got an answer for that.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it's just like, you know what, Stephen, everybody in the house, everybody in the house has such a part, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So it's just like they were chosen. So it's just like, sometimes you don't know how long something is going to last, but while you're there, I can honestly say that they all made their mark. That doggone Nivea, that doggone Iris, that doggone Misha, that doggone Aubrey. I can tell you, all them women are so talented. You know what I mean? And they have so much to give. And it's just like, I believe that there is so much to come for all of them. I pray to God that it is, and it's just like, look at Nivea, how much she made everybody smile and laugh. Look at Iris, how she brought people together, even in the midst of some of the things that was going on, her sharing her story about her sister and all, her sister passing, and just her heart. And then even with Misha, it was stuff that they didn't even show, that how Misha was just talking about some of the things that she'd been through along the years and throughout the years. And it's just like, yo, it was so powerful. But you know how it is, built for TV. Some things it's just like I gotta find the drama in it to make it, to make it something. So and even Aubrey, like, yo, Aubrey is dope. You know what I mean? She's dope. And she has a lot to offer. So it's just like, with that, it's just like, everybody had so much to play. They were chosen, like I said, and I thank God for that word, chosen. They were chosen to be there, but it didn't it didn't pan out the way that everybody thought it was going to be. Like, as far as, you know how sometimes you think you get in a relationship,
right,
or you're in a relationship with somebody, and it's just like, yo, we're gonna rock out for it. We get married, we're gonna have, and it's just like, you like, wait a minute.
right. Wrong. Psych.
Oh, yep. You like, time out. You looking and you like, this ain't gonna go past the we ain't gonna make 2 days.
It sound good. It sound good.
Yeah, it sounded good in the beginning, you know. So it's just like, but at the same time too, it's just like whatever it is that took place in those times, they made their mark, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm so grateful because I met some great women that I still talk to today.
Good.
You know what I mean? Like, I promise you, like that Iris, that one right there, all of them are great. Don't get me wrong, because everybody played a different part in as far as talking to and this, that, and the third, and kind of just having that, you know, sometimes you have you know, associates, and sometimes you have friendships and all this stuff. But that Irish, man, I love all of the women. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But that one, she's a special somebody. She really is. And then Shamari too, you know, Shamari, I talked to Shamari as well. I talked to Nivea, you know what I mean? I talked to Misha, and, you know, so it's just like you definitely look at what it is that you've gained in this situation. And I definitely gained a lot because, like I said, go back to myself. This one here, I had to come home and sit down and see this mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, to look at that mirror and be like, ooh, God, I thought I was over that. Ooh, God, I thought that. There's still some ugly stuff in you too, Pamela. It's just the fact that, you know, God got a way that he's so good and he's merciful that he'll cover you. You know what I mean? He'll cover you. But I promise you that one in the mirror, it's too much. I can't, Stephen, I ain't got time to look at nobody else. Because
Exactly.
I'm still like, God, please help. You know, still for the rest of my life, I know that I will be there, and it's just like I'm grateful and I'm thankful again, Stephen. I really am. This is all by the grace of God. I promise you.
In closing, what do you want your fans, the viewers, to know who Pamela Long is today?
Stephen, you know what? I was asked this question, and I promise you, at the end of the day, if I don't want nobody else to know anything else about me, I want them to be able to see the Christ in me. Amen. Because if, God. It ain't nothing else better that you can give to somebody, Stephen, you know, and I promise to God, like, if I don't know nothing else, I know more now that he is everything. Amen. And you can't live without him, you know, you can't live without him. And that's it. Amen. That's everything to me.
You know, I told you this before we start recording, and I had a long conversation with our brother the other day, and I'm so proud of how you represent yourself on this show, and I want to thank you for your time. Tell everyone the best way to keep up everything you have going on, Pam.
You know what? You can keep up with me, Pamela Long, forever. On IG, Pamela Long forever. On Twitter, Pamela Long. On Facebook. You know, got some things coming down the pipeline. Like I said, you know, some new music coming, and, you know, and got a solo project coming up, and, you know, just got a couple things coming that, you know, a new book, another book. Oh, wow. Stephen wouldn't have never thought about that. This book, never thought I could be a writer, but God said to write. And so this one is even, this one is a little deeper than the one that I had. The other one was pieces of me. Now it's just like God is exposing everything, you know? So I'm just grateful, Stephen. I'm so grateful. And it's so much that I didn't think that I could do.
Right.
Like that scripture say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I just encourage everybody, listen, at the end of the day, if you don't think that you got a story, you do have one. Open your mouth, because you never know that who you'll help.
Amen. Yeah. Well, listen, I thank God to Pamela Long, my sister. I love her.
I love you, Stephen.
Tonight, BT presents the Encore. It comes on every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Check it out. Support Pam and all the women, and we'll be right back after this.